Ladies and gentlemen, hello. I'm just going to talk about the Cypcut or Cypcut laser cutting system, depending on how you want to pronounce that word. It's CYP cut. And what we're going to do is just have a general look at the moment, and we'll go into more detail in more videos in the future. I'm not going to say that this is a course as such, but if you follow the videos from the first to the last, obviously you'll get more out of that, depending on your level of expertise as well. So basically we're just going to have a look at how this system works and the orientation of the laser cutting system that I use at work, which is a GWK, Chinese laser cutting system. And the x-axis across is 1.5 meters, and the y-axis up and down is 3 meters, and that's about 10 feet by 5 feet. In fact, way of remembering x and y, so x is across, so imagine across, x across. Y's up. Y is up and down. So I just thought I'd demonstrate that for you. So it's an easy way to remember x and y. Even if you know that, it's a coordinate system that's general across all sorts of graphics. But you can also teach someone that just by saying x across, y's up. And my x is the width of my laser cutter, and the y is the length of the laser cutter, and I would be facing it from this end, and that's the front of the laser cutter, and for future reference. So what we're having a look at here is we have a file menu, a file tab I should say, and we'll go into more detail in that at some time in the future, but it's fairly straightforward. We also have a draw tab for our drawing functions, and we have the home tab for our general operations of the laser. I mean in nesting and so on, and also we have the nest tab. Quite a few more options there for nesting, and we also have the remnant tab, which is for generating sheet offcuts. And we have the CNC tab. CNC does stand for Computer Numerical Control. The CNC tab is basically the control of all of your machine options. So just keep that in mind. CNC is the machine options. For the purpose of this, we don't have a laser connected to this software at the moment, so some of the functions won't be available here. And we have the View tab. I really like to go into the jog of the machine first, because you really want to know how to move this thing around so you can place your sheet on the table. Now say for example if you had a 1.2 meter by 2400 2.4 meter sheet, you would have a sheet something similar to this in the center, and that sheet would be 4 by 8 in the old scale. Keep in mind that this is 5 by 10. The bed of the laser. In this instance, the fast button is actually here on the bottom left, so we can jog around quicker around the screen, or quicker around the table I should say. And then when you do those jogs, you'll have a limit to the machine, so you won't actually be able to go well past the machine border. When you do a nest, for example, the sheet size will come up in here, and so that's like a 4 by 8 sheet, for example, will come up inside the sheet there, and you'll be able to jog to points on that sheet to do your edge recognition and that kind of thing, so that you can read the edge of the sheet and align your laser nest to that. If we go down below on the jogging arrows and go right down to the center there, and we can click on the blow button, and that will actually start blowing gas. The laser I use, it has an option there to change that to oxygen or nitrogen. So moving back to our tabs here, we can hit the file tab, and we can start a new project. We can open a laser cut file or nest. We can look at the history of our cutting. That was something I did previously. We can save files and save as. I'm sure you're familiar with that. We can import parts and import a standard shape as well. So there's a good library, there's a great library here of standard shapes, and I'll go into that in more detail in the future when we start our nesting. I'm going to show you that you can make some nice shapes here, and we do find this really handy at work because I work in the marine industry, and we do have a lot of flanges, and you can vary the number of holes, the PCD, the internal and external diameters. So it's really quite handy, that flange function, and depending on your industry, you may find some of these other objects very handy to use, and starting from scratch where you can just draw completely straight up on the laser computer without having to go into any sophisticated CAD software. I do use this software on a regular basis, and I have been for 2 years, and I really have just touched on it, and I would like to become an expert at it, and maybe I can become more of an expert by teaching you something.